Kaelira Veermont has spent her life preparing to wear a crown as a queen. But just as her future begins to take shape, her father makes a decision that shatters everything. She has to get married first before she can become queen. She became furious, refusing to be nobody's pawn. There's just one problem. The man she's promised to is everything she despises. Cruel to everyone, manipulative, and can't keep his pants on. And her father will not believe unless she can prove it. So Kaelira does the unthinkable. She disguises herself as a servant and journeys into a foreign kingdom. But in a palace full of secrets, danger, and deception, she finds something she never expected. A handsome man she can never have. Now trapped between a cruel fate and an impossible love, Kaelira must decide. Prove the truth and break her engagement, or lose herself to a crown that was never meant to be hers alone.
Chapter 1. The Weight of a Crown. Kaelira Veermont woke before dawn, as she always did. Not from duty, though there was plenty of that. Not from ambition, though she had her share. She woke because the castle was quietest in these hours, and quiet was the only time she could hear herself think. She dressed without calling for a maid. The gown was plain grey wool, the sort a minor lord's daughter might wear. She braided her own hair, tucked a small purse of coins into her sleeve, wore her cloak, and slipped out through the servants' passage behind the tapestry of the sunken king. No one stopped her. They never did. An hour later, she was at the fish market, the bottom of the lower city, helping an old fisherman untangle his net. "You're a strange one," he said, squinting at her. "Coming down here at this hour, you some kind of nun?" "A student," she said with a smile. He smiled. "People are trouble. That is why I study them." By the time the sun had fully risen, she had helped 3 merchants unpack their carts, paid a widow's debt to a baker, quietly from her own purse, and learned the names of a dozen children who played in the muddy square. She knew their mothers' worries, their fathers' trades, which wells had gone sour, and which guards took bribes. She carried it all home to her chest like a second heartbeat. The castle felt colder when she returned. She changed into a proper gown, modest but fine, and went to her morning lessons: statecraft, numbers, the history of treaties broken and kept. Her tutor, Master Haldon, droned on about taxes. Kaelira took notes. She always took notes, but her mind drifted, as it often did, to a question she had never been able to answer. When will I rule? In power, she would have advisers, ministers, generals, but alone in the way that mattered, at night, in the quiet, with no one to share the weight of a kingdom. She thought of the kind of prince in fairy tale, not a prince who would expect her to shrink, not a lord who would mistake her kindness for weakness, someone who saw the crown and the woman beneath it, someone she respected, someone who respected her. Foolish, she thought. A princess dreams of peace and plenty, not of that. But she dreamed it anyway. The next evening her father summoned her to his solar. King Alaric was not a cruel man. He was not even an unkind one. He loved her, she never doubted that, but he loved the kingdom more, and he had spent years learning that love and duty were rarely the same thing. Her mother, Queen Selene, gave Kaelira a small, worried smile, which meant trouble. King Alaric stood, a goblet of wine in his hand. "Ah, there you are," he said. "Sit, daughter." Kaelira smiled and sat. "I have good news," Alaric continued. "I have secured your future." Her stomach dropped. "You are to marry Prince Cedrin Gainhurst, son of King Theron Danehurst." The room went very quiet. "No," Kaelira said. Her father's smile flickered. "No? I will not marry a stranger. You will marry who I choose. You said I would rule. Her voice stayed steady, though her hands wanted to shake. "You said I would be queen, not a bargaining piece." "You will be both," his tone hardened. "A queen without allies is a queen without a throne. The Danehursts are our strongest friends, their army, their ports. I do not care about their ports. You will care when an invasion comes. Then let me choose. There is no choice." He moved close to her, but she did not step back. "You are my daughter. You are my heir. You will do your duty." "Duty?" She laughed, and there was no joy in it. "You call this duty? Selling me to a man I have never seen. I call it keeping you safe. I am not a child to be kept. No, you are a woman to be wed." He turned his back on her. "The matter is settled." She looked at her mother. Queen Celine's eyes were wet, but she did not speak. She never did when the king had decided something. She tried to reach for Kalira's hand, but pulled away, curtsied to her father, sharp, cold, perfect, and walked out before he could see her face crumple. Her mother followed her to the garden. Queen Alara was not a woman of politics. She had been a minor noble's daughter, chosen for her gentle nature and her health, and she had filled both roles well. Celine sat beside her on the stone bench. For a long while, neither of them spoke. "I am sorry. I should have said something," Celine said finally. "I know you already tried to convince him, Mother." "Yes," Celine sighed. "You know your father. I can't." Kalira leaned her head on her mother's shoulder. "Yes, Mother, I know." She frowned. "But what do I do now?" "Why don't you meet him first, and you decide for yourself?" Celine turned to face her. "My love, a man may be one thing in gossip and another in truth. Your father believes he has chosen well. Perhaps he has. You do not believe that. I believe that you are strong enough to judge him for yourself." Celine smiled, warm and sad. "And I believe that sometimes the person we're meant to love arrives in a shape we did not expect. Do not close your heart before he even arrives." Kalira looked out at the roses. "I wanted to choose." "I know," her mother kissed her temple. "But first you must survive, and then you may thrive, one step at a time." She left Kalira alone. Few hours later. The door to her chambers burst open an hour later. No knock, no warning, it was Morel, filling the doorway like a small storm, her eyes wide. Morel was her maid, who had been away visiting her brother, a girl of 20, a year younger than Kalira and twice as bold. They had grown up together, more sisters than mistress and servant. "I just got back," she announced, shutting the door behind her, "and I heard you're getting married to a handsome prince." Kalira did not look up from the window. "Handsome does not make a good king." "Handsome does not make a bad one either," Morel slopped onto the bed. "Oh, you are not crying. That is disappointing. I brought handkerchiefs for nothing." "I do not cry when I am angry." "No, you get all quiet and scary." Morel propped herself up on her elbows. "It is unsettling, honestly. Most people scream. You just plan." Kalira finally turned. "What do you know about him?" "Nothing yet, but I will." Morel sat up cross-legged, suddenly serious. "Give me 3 days. I know someone in the kitchen who has a brother that travels with a Danehurst merchant. I will find out everything. What he eats, how he treats his horses, whether he lasts in bed." Kalira shook her head. "Stop. You are really impossible." They both laughed, loud and real, the way they only did when no one else was listening. Finally, Morel stood and stretched. "Now sleep, Your Highness. You have a prince to dread in the morning." She was halfway to the door when Kalira called out, "Morel?" "Yes?" "Thank you." Morel grinned. "Do not thank me yet. Thank me when I find out he has a crooked nose and bad breath." She was gone before Kalira could throw a pillow at her. 2 days passed. Kalira attended her lessons, she ate supper with her parents and said nothing. Her mother kept giving her small, sad looks. Her father acted as if nothing had happened. That night, Morel burst into her chambers, breathless. "He is awful!" Kalira set down her hairbrush. "Tell me everything." Morel spread the papers across the bed, notes of rumors collected from a dozen different mouths. "Arrogant," she said, ticking off on her fingers, "dismissive of servants, cruel to those beneath him. There are stories," she made a face, "stories about maids, Kale, what he does to them when no one is watching." Kalira's jaw tightened. Morel continued, "He goes through women like wine. A girl, the baker's daughter, she was sent away when she fell pregnant. He denied everything." "Gods! Wait, it gets worse." Morel grabbed her hands. "I heard he's coming." "What? You didn't know?" "No, of course father wouldn't tell me." She walked to the window and looked out at her kingdom. She thought of her mother's words, "Do not close your heart before he even arrives." But her heart was not closed. "We let him show us exactly who he is." "We wait," she met Morel's eyes in the glass, "and we watch. A man like that cannot hide forever."
Chapter 2. The Serpent's Smile. The day Prince Cedron Danehurst arrived, the castle buzzed with celebration. Kalira turned from the window. "Is everything ready?" "Your mother and father thinks you are ill. I told the cook you ate something that did not agree with you." Morel grinned. "The kitchens are in chaos trying to find the bad fish." "You told them it was fish." "I told them it might have been fish, or the cream, or the bread." She shrugged. "No one will question it. You look pale enough to sell it." Kalira touched her cheeks. She had not slept well. That was real enough. "Good," she said. "Now help me into something simple. I want to be comfortable while I spy." An hour later, Kalira stood in a dark alcove above the great hall, peering through a narrow gap in the stonework. The servants called it the Watcher's Nook, a secret passage built for guards in older, more dangerous times. Tonight, it served a different purpose. Below, the hall glittered with candles and gold. King Alaric sat at the head of the table, broad and pleased. Her mother sat beside him, her smile warm. And at the center of it all, like a spider in a web of silk, sat Prince Cedron Danehurst. He was handsome. She hated that first. Shiny blonde hair, neat and tied, eyes the color of honey, warm and laughing. He dressed well, and when he smiled, the servants blushed. Kalira felt nothing but cold. "Gods," whispered Morel beside her, pressed close to share the gap. "He is pretty. I hate him already." "Shh. I'm just saying, you know, pretty men are always trouble." Below, Cedron raised his goblet. "To King Alaric," he said, his voice smooth as honey. "And to Queen Selene," he bowed his head toward her, "whose beauty rumors could never do justice." Selene smiled politely. "You are kind, my prince. Only truthful, your grace." Kalira rolled her eyes so hard Morel stifled a laugh. For a while, nothing happened. Cedron laughed at her father's jokes. Mum apologized again for her absence. He told her not worry and would come back to see his bride another time. Indeed, he was everything a future son-in-law should be. Then a maid stepped forward to refill his goblet. She was flustered. She was new, Kalira noticed. Suddenly, a single drop of red wine landed on Cedron's hands. Cedron's smile vanished. He spoke before he could stop himself. "Careful, you idiot," he said softly. The maid stammered an apology. "Forgive me, my prince. I did not mean—" He turned her parent then to the maid. "Oh, of course you didn't mean to." He patted her hand, and the gesture should have been kind. It was not.
His fingers curled around hers just a moment too long, just tight enough to make her wince. Accidents happen, do they not? She nodded, pale as milk. The queen dismissed her. King Alaric cackled. "Clumsy thing, I shall have her replaced." "No need," Cedrin said. His smile was back, warm and easy. "She is young. We were all young once." "Did you see that?" Celera hissed. "That's the man my father wants me to marry. I hate him already." "Me too," Celera agreed quietly. "Definitely not marry him." She almost left then, almost turned away, called it proof enough, and retreated to her chambers to rage. But something kept her watching. Cedrin excused himself. "A private matter," he said, pressing his stomach with a self-deprecating smile. Celera grabbed Mirelle's wrist. "Come." They moved through the servants' passage, silent as shadows, until they reached the eastern corridor. It was quieter here, lit only by a few flickering torches. And there was Cedrin. He was not alone. A maid stood pressed against the wall, the same girl from dinner. She held a tray of empty plates and looked very much like she wished she were anywhere else. "I should return to the kitchens, my prince. You should stay." He traced a finger down her arm. "I have always admired hard-working girls, so much more genuine than noble ladies. Such beautiful women here," he continued, almost to himself. "I can only wonder how the princess looked like, if she is half as pretty as you." Celera's blood boiled. She almost stepped forward. "Prince Cedrin?" The voice came from behind them. King Alaric. Celera pressed herself deeper into the shadows. Her heart pounded. Cedrin turned. What does that old man want now? His face transformed in an instant. The predator vanished. In its place stood a charming young man, caught in an awkward moment, looking almost embarrassed. "Your Majesty," he slipped through the door. He slipped out of the door. "Oh, there you are," said the king, already drunk. "I wanted to show you around before you leave." Cedrin chuckled, shaking his head. "I shall see your castle another time, but for now I think we should return to the feast before your cooks think we have abandoned their fine food." He walked the king back, easy, unbothered. Celera did not remember walking back to her chambers. "That," she said, "is the man my father wants me to marry." Mirelle threw herself into a chair. "I want to punch him. I want to punch him in his perfect, handsome face. He lied right to my father's face. Such a snake. That maid must be scared. He looked at her like she was meat." Mirelle shuddered. "Cale, you cannot marry him. You cannot." "I know." Celera began to pace. "I need to do something. He will be leaving soon. The next time he come, I might be too late. We prove it." Celera turned. "We gather evidence, witnesses, something undeniable, something even my father cannot ignore." Mirelle's eyes went wide, then sharp. "That's a good plan, but we need someone inside his household, someone who sees him every day, someone like a servant." The princess interrupted.
Chapter 3. Beneath a False Name. "I said we should gather information," Mirelle hissed. "I did not say we needed to be here." "Shh." Mirelle's eyes were wide as saucers. "Cale, this is insane." "Quiet. Don't let her find this suspicious." The head maid was a woman named Gretchen. She was tall, sharp-faced, and looked like she had not smiled since the last war. Celera's plan was simple: get witness and evidence of Cedrin deeds. Getting into the Dravenmoor wasn't hard. With a recommendation letter, her family royal seal, easy. She told her father in a careful, sweet, perfect voice that she wanted to visit Aunt Alara and Cousin Mira in the north.
after telling him he was right about everything and she needed time to reflect on his choice for her future. Her father had practically wept with relief. He had given his blessing, extra coin for the journey, and a disturb not to write until she was ready. Her mother didn't suspect a thing. She trusted her daughter, and of course she has to bribe the knights. Gretchen squinted at the royal seal, then at them. "This letter says you are experienced," she said flatly. "Yes, ma'am," they replied. Her eyes traveled slowly over Kalira. "Are you sure you've worked as a servant before? Your skin is smooth. You look soft, beautiful even." Kalira smiled, calm as still water. "Oh, thank you. I get that often." Gretchen's eyes narrowed, but the letter was convincing, and the castle was short-handed with the second prince mischief. She sighed. "Very well. You," she pointed at Kalira, "kitchen. And you," Gretchen turned to Morel, "laundry. Are you good with that?" Morel smiled. "Of course. I've been handling." "Good. Shut it and follow me." Morel whispered behind Kalira, "I hate her already. Can't believe we are separated." "Yeah, but let's just stay together for now." The tour was short and brutal. Gretchen walked fast and spoke faster. "Do not speak to the royals unless spoken to. Do not steal. Do not gossip. The kitchens are off limits after midnight. The East Wing is for the royal family only." Kalira memorized every word. Luckily, they were not sharing room with any servant for now. Their room was a small stone cell with 2 narrow beds and a single candle. "This is awful," Morel said, sitting on her bed. It creaked. "I want to go home." "You wanted to come here." "I wanted to gather information from a safe distance. I did not sign up for laundry." Kalira sat beside her. "1 week. We watch, we listen, we find proof, then we leave." "Fine," Morel said, hugging her. "Anything for you, my princess." They chuckled. The next day, the kitchen was chaos. Kalira had spent enough time in the kitchen talking to Morel to know the rhythm of it, the shouting, the heat, the dance of bodies moving around fires and tables. She fell into the work quickly, chopping vegetables, scrubbing pots, carrying trays. Her arms ached, her back hurt, but she did not complain. "Look at your hands," a cook whispered to her, "soft as butter." Kalira smiled and kept her head down and worked faster. A girl her age appeared at her elbow. "You are new," she said. "Yes. I'm Becky." She handed Kalira a heavy tray. "Here, this goes to the dining hall. The Crown Prince and his knights are having a feast. You just have to deliver it." Kalira turned. "Okay, on it." Becky suddenly stopped, quietly added, "Stay away from Prince Cedrin. Do not look him in the eye. Do not speak unless asked. And if he touches you, pretend you didn't notice and walk away." Kalira's blood went cold. She turned. "Does he do that often?" Becky did not answer. The hall was smaller than the Great Hall, but no less grand. A long table, 6 knights in leather and steel laughing over their wine. And at the side of the table, Prince Cedrin Danehurst. He looked the same as he had in Vermont, handsome, polished, predatory. Kalira lowered her head and moved to serve. She placed bread on the table, then meat, then wine. Her hands were steady, her breathing was even.
"What is your name, beauty?"
She froze. Cedrin was looking at her. His honey-coloured eyes travelled up her body slowly, too slowly, and stopped at her face. He was smiling. She said nothing. She turned to leave. His hand caught her wrist. The tension took the tray.
You did not answer me. I asked your name, beauty.
Let go of me.
Bold. I like bold. He pulled her closer to him. Come now, no need to be shy. A pretty thing like you.
His hand slid down her back. Kylera moved before she thought. Slap. The sound cracked through the hall like a whip. Cedron's head snapped to the side. His cheek bloomed red. For a moment, no one breathed. The knights stared. The servants froze. Kylera moved away, her palm stinging, her voice clear as a bell. How dare you? Just because I am a servant doesn't mean you have the right to touch me. Silence. Cedron turned. His eyes went dark. Did you just slap me? And I will do it again if you touch me once more.
That was quite a show.
A man stood there, tall, broad-shouldered. His hair was dark, all sharp angles and beautiful eyes.
Cedron snarled. Brother, are you laughing? This lowly maid raised her hand against me, a royal, and you laugh. Brother? Kylera's heart stuttered.
He has a brother.
I am sorry, he said. I never thought I would see the day my brother was lectured by a serving girl. He tilted his head at Kylera. Well said, by the way.
Cedron's face twisted. Well said. I think the war has addled your mind. He turned to Kylera, rage simmering beneath his skin. As for you, 200 lashes. You'll be flogged for laying your filthy hands on me. Kylera's blood turned to ice. 200 lashes. Then the crown prince pushed off the doorframe and walked to his brother.
Come now, he said quietly. Leave the girl alone. It is a good day. The war is over. I am home. Let us not ruin it. He glanced at Kylera. You, go.
She did not wait. She bowed, low, quick, grateful, and walked. Her legs shook, her hands trembled, but she did not run. She would not give Cedron the satisfaction. Behind her, she heard Cedron's voice rise. Did you see how arrogant she was? That girl needs to be taught a lesson. The door closed behind her. She pressed a hand to her racing heart. He has a brother.
You slapped him? Morel's voice rose so high it nearly cracked the ceiling. Kylera was not listening. Prince Veilric, she said. I didn't know he had a brother. Why was I not given that one? Morel groaned. You are definitely not listening to me. I am listening, but he has a brother. Yes, he has a brother, Morel said, giving up. Crown Prince Veilric. He returned from the Northern War not long ago. Everyone in the laundry room talks about him. Kylera turned to her. And what? What else do they say? She tried to sound casual. She failed. Morel ed a grin spreading across her face. Oh, I see. Now you are interested. Morel. Fine, fine. Morel stretched. They say he's a good fighter, fair to his men, keeps to himself mostly, and he has a fiancée. Kylera's chest tightened. A fiancée? But here's the interesting part. Morel leaned forward. I heard he almost got married once before, a long time ago. Kylera leaned in. What happened? I do not know. No one says. She yawned. And he's older, much older. How old? Not sure. Morel's eyes were already closing. 30, 32, something like that.
So tired. 30, Kalira repeated. That is not so bad. People marry older all the time. I'm only 21. I'm not saying I want to marry him because I find him good-looking. I'm just... She turned. Morel was already asleep, mouth open, snoring softly. Kalira smiled. She gently tucked the blanket around her friend's shoulders. Then she blew out the candle. Good night. The next morning, Kalira learned that slapping a prince had consequences. Not the ones Cedron had wanted, no flogging, no prison, but Gretchen, the head maid, had heard the story, and she did not appreciate servants who drew attention. She was assigned to sweep the courtyard, all of it, twice. Her hands were still swollen from the kitchen work. She had chopped onions for 3 hours, and her fingers had blistered. The broom handle rubbed against it. Stupid prince, she muttered under her breath. This is unfair. I'm the victim here. She swept harder. Then she heard the giggles. Oh my! Look at those muscles! He's even more handsome in the morning. The way he swings that sword? Kalira's curiosity got the better of her. She turned. Crown Prince Veilric was in the training yard, smiling, a practice sword in his hand. He moved like water, smooth, controlled, powerful. Across from him was his knight. He is, she thought, very good-looking. She stared longer than she meant to. What are you all doing? Gretchen's voice thundered across the courtyard. The maids scattered like leaves before a storm. Kalira began sweeping furiously. Oh, what am I going to do with you girls? She said, walking away. Mrs. Gretchen? Veilric waved, towel around his neck, breathing hard. Oh, greetings, Your Majesty, she said, stepping down. How is your nephew, the one who took the arrow to the shoulder? Gretchen's stern face softened. Oh, Your Majesty, he is well, thanks to you. He walks with a limp now, but he walks. Gretchen smiled. Kalira stared. She smiled. The woman made of stone just smiled. 2 hours later, Kalira's feet were screaming. She had been summoned, no, assigned to take snacks to the prince's solar. Prince Cedron and the Crown Prince were talking about the aftermath of the war. The north needed rebuilding, borders needed securing. Kalira was supposed to pour wine and be invisible. Her feet blistered, her back ached, but she kept her face neutral and her steps steady. Earlier, when she came in, Cedron noticed her immediately. His eyes tracked her as she entered. She just bowed and ignored him. She watched in fascination. Prince Veilric knew every name, every resource. He spoke of the people, not armies or gold, but people, farmers, miners, merchants. He knew how many children had been orphaned in the war. He knew which villages had lost their wells.
Cedron, meanwhile, stared at the ceiling. He corrected a lord on the name of a town and got it wrong. It is Grey Haven, not Grey Port, the lord said carefully. Same difference, Cedron muttered. It was not the same difference. Kalira knew that. Grey Haven was a fishing village. Is this the man my father wants me to marry? She thought. Is this how he plans to rule my kingdom? Her legs ached. She shifted her weight, then shifted again. Take a seat. She looked up. Veilric was watching her. Your feet hurt. It was not a question. Take a seat. She blinked. Your Majesty, I could not. Sit. His voice was gentle but firm. Her feet were screaming. She sat. Cedron's head snapped around. Are you telling a maid to sit among royalty? Have you lost it, brother? She is tired. They are a servant. They do not get tired. They work. That is not how bodies work, Cedron.
Cedron's face reddened. "You coddle them, just like King Frederick did, our great-grand-uncle. Being kind, and where did it get him? A maid ended his life." "That was King Ashford," Kylera said. Everyone turned to look at her. She had not meant to speak. The words had simply escaped. Cedron's eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" "That was King Ashford, your great-grand-uncle. King Frederick was your great-great-great-grandfather," she said carefully. Cedron sneered. "What would a maid know of my kingdom history?" "I have read every volume of Martaine's History of the Kingdoms. It is Martaine's Chronicles of the Kingdoms. The word history was added by later publishers. Martaine himself never used it." Silence. Cedron's face went from red to purple. "You dare!" Vialric laughed. Not a loud laugh, a quiet one. His eyes crinkled at the corners, his shoulders shook. "Oh my," he said, wiping his eye. "Brother, she is right." Cedron stood so fast his chair nearly tipped over. "You are laughing at me. I am laughing with you. This is your fault for telling her to sit. I'm done." He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. The lords exchanged awkward glances. One by one, they excused themselves. She stood to leave, but he stopped her.
"Stay."
He stood. His smile had softened into something quieter, something almost curious. "You know a great deal about my kingdom history and politics." She tried to keep her face calm, her voice steady. "Not really, Your Majesty. Just read a few books."
"That is unusual. A lady interested in such things. I thought women preferred fairy tales and love poems."
"I read those sometimes too."
"Do you?" "You are very bold, you know, for a servant."
She held his gaze. "So I have been told." He stepped closer, just one step, but it was enough to make her breath catch.
"What is your name?"
"Lyra." She said it slowly, like he was tasting the word. "Lyra, a fine name." "Thank you, Your Majesty."
"Valeric."
"What?"
"My name. If you're going to correct my brother and quote Martine at me, you should at least call me by my name." He smiled. "Valeric. Not Your Majesty, not my prince. Just Valeric."
She stared at him. That would not be proper.
"Proper is overrated." He glanced at the door. "I find myself suddenly very tired of proper."
His knight appeared in the doorway. "Your Majesty, the king requires your presence."
Valeric sighed. Very well. I suppose I might have to leave."
She bowed slightly. "As you wish, Your Majesty." He walked toward the door, then paused.
"Lyra."
"Let us talk again sometime. I find myself curious about a maid who knows more about northern rebellions than my own brother." He left before she could answer. She sat in the empty solar, her heart doing something strange and unsteady in her chest. "Lyra," he had said, the way he said it, soft, curious, like a question he wanted to keep asking. She cupped her face and told herself it meant nothing.
Chapter 6. The Victory Celebration. The castle buzzed with preparations for the war victory celebration. Banners hung, torches lit, servants ran everywhere. Kylera had blended in so well she almost forgot why she came. 4 days, she thought that night, staring at the ceiling. I should leave soon. But she had nothing. No proof, no witnesses. She had tried talking to the other maids, gently, carefully. Has Prince Cedron ever hurt anyone? They looked at her like she had grown a second head. How can a maid protect us, they asked. She couldn't answer. She couldn't reveal who she was. The baker's daughter who fell pregnant, gone, disappeared. No one knew where. Someone was covering tracks, and Cedron wasn't smart enough for that. She blew out the candle. The day of the victory celebration arrived. Gretchen found her at dawn. You, assigned to Prince Cedron's quarter. Kalira's blood went cold. Why? He said so. Trouble, she thought. The great hall glittered with gold and laughter. King Theron, Cedron and Valek's father, sat at the head of the table. He looked pale, weak. He left early. Bedridden for months, the servants whispered. The queen, Cedron's mother, was nowhere to be seen. Away, they said, and she had left right after Valek returned. Something was fishy. Across the hall, Valek laughed with his knights, not just nobles, everyone, young squires, old soldiers, serving men. He spoke to each one like they mattered. Nobody will believe you're a servant if you stand like that, Mirelle whispered behind her. Oh, Kalira said, changing her posture. I'm trying. They both giggled. He's so good-looking, Mirelle said. Yeah, he will make a good king too. Mirelle turned her head. I was talking about the knight. Kalira followed her gaze. The Crown Prince's knight. Sir Thorn, Mirelle said. He's my type. Kalira shook her head. You are impossible. A chair scraped loud. Cedron stumbled to his feet, drunk. The knights helped him toward the door. A maid appeared at her elbow. Gretchen says you are to help the prince. Kalira groaned. Mirelle gave a look. Be careful. She nodded. She heard the scream before she reached the door. Your Highness, please. Slap. She pushed the door open. The scene froze her blood. Cedron was on top of a maid. Kalira moved and grabbed the maid, pulling her away.
If it isn't the bold, stupid, beautiful maid, I knew you would come to me.
The maid fled. She stepped back. How shameless. You know, a man who can't control himself can never rule Elarion or even get married to the princess. He laughs. Please, she will count herself lucky to be mine. She would rather die to touch you. You're just a boy who cannot keep his hands. He moved fast, too fast. He pinned her to the wall, hands gripping her shoulders. You talk like you know her, he hissed. Let me go, you crazy bastard. You know, I like you, and if you behave tonight, I might make you my mistress when I rule Elarion. The door burst open. The maid had returned, with Valek. His face went from confused to horrified to furious in one breath. He crossed the room and pulled Cedron away.
How dare you? How many times must I tell you never to touch any woman you're...
If it isn't my perfect older brother, Cedron slurred, here to save the day.
Shut it.
If father must be so pleased, a son like you to take the throne.
I see. You need sleep. Too much wine. Valeric dropped Cedron onto the bed. His brother...
No, brother. You see, I will be king of Elarion soon. I'll show father. I can do better. Good night, brother.
He walked to Kalira and took her arm, led her out.
Never do that again.
I had to do something, she tried. He walked her toward the physician's wing. Your Majesty, I am fine. He turned a corner, stopped. He stayed quiet for a moment, trying to stable his breathing. Your Majesty?
I am sorry, he said, for raising my voice. He looked at her slowly. Are you all right? He didn't hurt you.
I am fine.
I swear, he is not like that, I promise you. My brother is a kind man. I don't know what has come over him these days. He was never like that when we were younger. I'm sorry.
He was protecting his brother, she realized. No, she said, reaching out. You don't have to apologize for his actions. I'm fine. As you can see, I am not shaken. I am a strong woman.
He chuckled softly. Yes, you are.
They stared at each other.
You should rest, he said. Let me walk you back.
No, I can. He was already pulling her along.
Come.
He held her hand the whole way. Neither spoke, neither let go. They reached her door.
Good night.
Yes, she looked down at their joined hands. Oh,
He let go. Sorry.
she blushed. Good night, Your Majesty. She closed the door fast.
He smiled at the door. It's Vale, but she was gone. You like her. Vaelric spun. Sir Torn leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Gods, you scared me. Don't change the subject. Thorn grinned. I see the way you look at her, the way you change your walking course just to catch a glimpse. Vaelric walked. I don't know what you speak of. Liar. I don't... He blushed. She's just different. Bold. Stubborn. And you are engaged. I know. The king won't let you break another betrothal, not after the maid. I know. Vaelric's voice sharpened. Let us return to the party. Thorn was following when a figure crashed into him. He caught her and steadied her. My lady. She didn't speak, just stared. My lady? Oh, she blinked. Sorry. Thank you. She ran. Thorn watched her disappear through a doorway. What a strange woman, he murmured. Then softer. Beautiful eyes.
I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. The last and final part will be up soon, so make sure to like, subscribe and turn on that notification to know when I upload.